Jay. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar. Jay Stongo, Gary Fife, Jeho Jifkadas, Mvskoke Radio, Mapu Hedja to Wedskis. Hi, I'm Gary Fife. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio. Appreciate y'all sitting in and listening to us today. All right, is everyone getting ready for the holiday? I know we're hearing lots of discussions of turkeys and meals, and my good friend Stan's trying to give a few of them away, this sort of thing. So we thought we would focus our program today on this holiday and the meals, the foods, and memories of Thanksgiving past. So we've got a couple of segments lined up here for you. First of all, we'll be speaking with the folks from the Elderly Nutrition Program. Wakita Lindsay, Joanna Petrie, thank you, and Pearl Thomas have come in to talk in our first segment. And in the second part, we'll have the folks from the Mvskoke Food Sovereignty Initiative come in. June Marshall and Sue White are scheduled to come talk with us. And I just stopped by their office and nearly got knocked over. Oh my, they have wild onions and something nipki. Can't even, it's so mouth-watering I can't even get the word. And got weak in the knees there as I was smelling that wonderful aromas. So hopefully they'll bring a sample, but who knows. First of all, thank you all for coming in. Appreciate it. Hoping that your holiday is going well.
Yes.
Okay, well, good. Let's start off, as I like to do for our listeners who are not familiar with your program, Elderly Nutrition. Can one of you maybe take a second there and give us kind of a capsule of what you do?
Well, we have 11 nutrition centers throughout the nation, and we feed Monday through Friday lunch from 12 to 1 at those centers.
Okay, first of all, this is Wakita,
yes.
Lindsay. All right, go ahead.
And we also, for those that are not able to come into the center and dine in and have lunch, we have homebound meals. We have some that choose that maybe they just want to pick up a meal and take it home and eat. So we have those also. But like I said, one day out of a month, we do breakfast, but the other days we do lunch.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've been by the center here in Muscogee a couple of times and on various errands, and notice you get quite a crowd in there, and these are folks who may not have an alternative for a hot meal during the day. Is that correct, or they just choose to come in and be with their friends? What goes on there?
Well, yes. I mean, there's some people that this may be their only hot meal, but others choose to come in and for lunch and just the fellowship itself with one another.
Yeah, go ahead, elbow your partner. There, say something. Pearl, let me ask you, you are one of the, we'll call them clients, one of the patrons of their establishment. What does it mean for you to come in and have this meal available on this regular basis?
Well, I just like to go in and have fellowship, because most of the time I know everybody that's in there, because I've lived here in Muscogee all my life. And at one time, I was Joanna's supervisor. With I retired from Creek Nation, so but we just have a good time. We have church people there that we all go to church together, and community people. I am the chair of the Oakmont Union community, so some of our own community members all go there, and I enjoy just visiting, just talking. And sometimes we'll after we have eaten, we're still sitting there at nearly 1:30, just talking, visiting. And if you don't know me, and Joanna and Wakita do know me, that I do like to talk. So,
That's why you're here today.
That's why she's here.
Okay, we're going to fill up our show here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joanna, now let's kind of talk about what gets served there and typical lunch menu. Do you have like a one that comes to mind? Obviously, we're having turkey here for Thanksgiving, but what else gets served for the folks who come in?
We just had our Thanksgiving dinner last week at the Nutrition Center on Thursday, and we had turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, gravy, green beans, dinner rolls, and we had pecan pie.
Ooh, jalapenos here. I'm getting hungry. But you're not going to have turkey every day. It'll be.
And no, we're not. And we'll have like fried fish. We'll do coleslaw, potatoes, and a dessert, and coffee, tea, or milk.
Now, do you all have to be concerned about the kinds of foods that you serve, particularly to a population that may or may not have some nutritional requirements or things they have to be careful about?
Well, we just do the one meal a day, and so it's basically nutritionist for everybody. And if somebody may be diabetic or something, they have to kind of make that choice themselves. But this is basically what we do. We just do the one meal a day. Thursdays are typically our traditional days. Like she said, we do catfish on those days, but we've also incorporated sofky in our menus.
Oh, boy.
We do have sofky on there. For this cycle, we've also added the great dumplings in our menu. So usually we try to keep some of our traditional foods still in there. We have a couple of them that's even brought in maybe like sour cornbread on those traditional days. So,
Well, why, tell me, any of you, please, why is our traditional Muscogee foods important to be included in what you serve?
That's one of the foods our elderly are used to, growing up on, and we want to keep it going. And then the ones that are coming to the center, the younger elders, they may not be familiar with that kind of food.
But not too much fry bread or anything
Oh,
like
we
that.
don't get that much fry bread.
Yeah,
If it was our elders' choice, they would want it every day.
I
now.
know. Yours truly,
yes, we got to keep it nutritious now.
me too. And I'm sure we just shocked a few nutritionists. Horrors. I get some angry phone calls. Let me ask you, Pearl, why is that important for you to have traditional foods like that? I mean, what does it mean to you?
well, again, like she said, most of us grew up on this type of food. And most of us, especially as women, that still cook. We still cook that. We still attend our churches, and we still cook like that. And we try to serve that. And, of course, at times, my mother or my aunt would fix, because my elder uncle was there, pig feet and hominy. And, nutritionists would shudder, if we serve things like that. And sakonipki, again, the sour cornbread, and just biscuits, just homemade biscuits. And so it is important, because some of these people who have moved to the elderly housing, they have moved away from their traditional home site, and so every once in a while they still would like to have some of that, But they do like the homemade biscuits too.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned those. My mom used to call them church house biscuits. Big, tall, fluffy things, and perfect for sopping up gravy.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Oh,
yes.
my gosh. Oh, I hope my wife is listening and taking notes. Now, it sounds like, the presence of these traditional foods actually goes beyond just the nutritional thing. A reminder of culture and family and this kind of thing.
Yes, it does.
And that's part of the atmosphere you try to foster within this program.
Yes, we do.
Now, Pearl, we have talked, slightly here about traditional foods, but let me ask you about some memories as a young girl. Are things really a lot different in what's being served today, and from what you remember and how it was prepared and things?
Well, the atmosphere has changed a great deal because growing up, it was family. You all went back to your family roots. You went back to the home place. And at that time, growing up, I had two aunts that still lived at home. My uncle, and he still had cattle. They still had their orchards, and she still cooked on the old wood stove at that time. Eventually, they did go to propane, butane. That's what it was. That was something anyway.
Yes.
But anyway, and then eventually got electricity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so those kinds of things I remember, and as kids running around there, you know, and then they start their cooking but it was a place to gather all family. It was family oriented, you know, and everybody came. And sometimes we would just have people to come, and we did not know them. They were friends of the family or something. They would come. My aunt would tell me this also. But she said, we didn't have a whole lot of everything else, but she said one thing about it, we had food, because we raised our turkeys, we raised chickens, we had cattle, even some goats, she said, and they always had 3 or 4 horses, because that's how they would get around lots of time. And they had, she said, we had all kinds of things in the orchard. We had the old plum trees, the plum bushes, pear, apple. She said the only thing we didn't have was like oranges or you know, the things like that. But she said we even had cherry trees, and we had grapes. And so I remember my aunt making the grape dumplings, you know, and then we had trees in the back of the old home place. And I'm thinking they're either mulberry, or but they were trees with big grape-looking fruit on it, but they called it key.
Yeah.
They called it key, and of course they were just in abundance. It'd be huge trees of them, but my aunt used to make the best dumplings with it. Oh, they was just wonderful, and you know, and so we enjoyed all of that, and picking pecans. You know, and one of the things that always used to get puzzled me, eventually as we got older, we'd have Jell-O, and I always wondered, how did they get the Jell-O to gel? But not realizing, you know, of course, at those times, it would be cold, and they would fix it, put it outside, and it would, you know, gel in the cold air. But eventually, we had what we call ice boxes, not refrigerators, ice boxes, and where they actually had ice. They would buy the ice, bring it home, put it in the ice box. That's how they gelled their Jell-O. Wow. But it took me a long time to figure that out, you know, and then they eventually and that was so good. And see, I still like Jell-O, because I thought that was the most wonderful wonderful thing to eat, you know, was that Jell-O. Then eventually they started putting pecans in it, you know, and bananas and some apples, you know, things like that. And so to this day, I still like that. And but we'd always have in the fall of the year also was hog killing time, and that was a fun time. And that's where all the Sokonipki came from, and the old lots of things that a lot of people wouldn't dare. Nutritionists would absolutely be in fear, you know, if they knew what we used to eat. But we were healthy.
Well,
but that's because they did hard labor jobs.
Right, much more active.
Oh yes. So those are the kinds of things that I grew up with, you know, and talking to my aunt, you know, and I said. And so we all learned to cook. That's how you learn to cook. We were taught that. Mm-hmm. I was taught to. My aunt, my old old maid aunt, could cook anything. It wasn't fancy, but it was good. Oh, yeah. And then all the other sisters learned to cook. And that's how I learned to cook.
Mhm.
And my daughter and my granddaughter can cook. But that's how they learn.
The folks next door at Mvskoke Foods just brought in a little sample here that I tasted. I'm ready to just finish this and let you all do the show.
I was fixing to say, pass me the wall onions, please.
Oh, boy. God, I forgot what I was going to say.
I have to call Gary out. You should have seen
Growing up, we had to share.
He was shaking.
Oh, boy. Okay, all right. Let me compose myself here, and we'll try and finish this show. Now, we were talking about the way things got cooked, and because of his job, my dad, and family, we all were on Tulsa, and we didn't get out to see kinfolk too much out in the country. But I remember times when we'd go out and see my grandfather when he was still around, and his wife would be out in the yard cooking. I remember, the fire in that big old pot, and whatever she was doing, it was just amazing stuff. Kind of like the stuff I just tasted here.
Like fried meat.
Yeah, or even softy or something like that. They would be taking their time and doing it like that. Is there a real difference now, do you think, any of you, on the way things were done then and of course now because of modern situations? Is there a difference in taste, flavor, composition?
I think it really is because
Definitely.
the fact that back when we used to cook before, we both worked in the kitchen together, and we would cook turkeys off. It would take us all week long to cook turkeys off, and then we'd make our cornbread ahead of time, and everything was pre-prepped for Thanksgiving meal. Nowadays, they can get it done within a day because we get a lot of pre-packaged stuff anymore.
Yeah, everything, there's a lot of things that comes pre-made, and then this year, due to the virus on the turkeys and the chickens, we were not able to do the whole turkeys for Thanksgiving. We had to do the turkey breast, so that was a big difference, a big change for us also.
Yeah, it's got to be because the flavor of the meat from different parts of the bird is so important. Get a hold of a good old drumstick with some dark meat and
That's
something like
right.
that.
Exactly.
I'm in heaven, as I just was a couple of minutes ago. Now, Pearl, how do you remember turkeys being prepared when you were growing up? Was it an oven, an old wood burning stove?
In the old wood burning stoves, because we did that at church, because we still had old camp houses, there at the churches. And when they would come in the day before, or maybe 2 days before, and if they were going to cook, they were cooked in the old-fashioned wood burning stoves, or on top of it, or outside, whatever, in the black pots. Oh, and there definitely is a different taste to it. To me, it's just more flavorful, and they just had a knack of knowing how to cook it.
Well, I remember the activity itself was drawing the family together, too, because everyone had their little job to do. Even us little kids had to go fetch firewood and
Yes.
things like that.
Oh, yes. We had to do that at home because up until I was in high school, we didn't have electricity, so we still had the wood-burning stoves, Then we went to butane, and we had that. And so I still remember the days of having to go out and get the little firewood and just to get the fire started every morning, and those kinds of things.
Right. As the nutrition program puts together its plans, what are, I guess, the important parts when you're planning like a menu or a program? And I want you to tell me a little bit more, because it's not just a food that you serve. You bring in something that, I guess we'll call it entertainment, if nothing else.
Every now and then we'll have the Creek Nation Head Start or the Creek Nation Daycare. They'll come in and they'll do some singing for our elders, and they'll make little cards and pass out candy canes. And then not only that, we do have traditional songs within our centers. If we have an activity going on, they'll do a small program. And then they'll have Creek hymns sung.
Wakita, do you get any feedback from the folks who come in? I mean, do they talk to you about enjoying a show like that? Or?
Oh, yes, they do. We have, just like she said, we've got the little kids, and they do enjoy the kids. The elders, they enjoy seeing the little ones coming in, and they may have practiced a Creek song that they've learned over there, so they enjoy hearing them sing it. For this year, our Christmas dinner for December is going to be on December the 17th. And I know for the Wetumpka Nutrition Center, the Wetumpka High School Band has called them and asked them to come over and play some Christmas music for them. So that's what we have to look forward to. So it's just, we're just able to get outside people to come in and just do little activities for our elders. So it's nice. It's really nice.
Let me ask you a little bit about the requirements, I guess, for someone to be eligible to come in for meals like this. Is there an age requirement or like income kind of thing like that, or
55. They do have to be 55. They do have to be Native American, member of a federal recognized tribe. Rather than that, no income, but. That's,
So if someone wanted to bring in, say, a non-native spouse or a child, could they purchase a meal while they're sitting there?
they can. The spouses are eligible to eat with the husband or with the spouse, the husband or wife, whatever one it is. But for anybody that's 55 and under, they have to pay a meal cost of $4.
No, that's not bad.
No.
That's the price of half a hamburger these days. Now, Pearl, as you sit among, I guess, and have some fellowship with the other folks having lunch there, is there anything in particular that they like to talk about and share when they're having a meal like this, or is it just kind of family and this sort of thing?
Well, people are kind of, they like to sit at certain tables, so there's a table there that is a relative of mine, he and his wife, and then there's a former pastor and his wife sits at that one table, and then some other church members from other churches will sit there, so most of the time we have something in common to talk about because we are of the same faith, and we are in the same area where all of our churches are, that's sometimes that's how we find out if there's a concern there. Maybe someone's in the hospital that we did not know about, and that people that we know, most of the time we do all know them. And then there's another tables that sit, which is like all men. They sit there, and of course they like to talk sports, football, and just joke around. Yeah. And they, talk about traditional things and cultural things and old time when they used to play ball. They do a lot of that. We do a lot of reminiscing, about what we used to do, and anyway, and share stories about our children, grandchildren, and what's going on in our community. That's how sometimes we keep informed. Is that of what's going on in the community? So
you mentioned, perhaps someone from a particular church might be gathered at one table and others. Is there any concern or discussion or raised eyebrow if someone from, say, a more traditional background, stomp ground kind of thing, is that overlooked? It doesn't matter these days?
No, it does not matter. It does not matter. We're all at the same age where we just enjoy, life right now. I mean, we're at this age and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And it's a learning experience because, there's lots of things that I don't know about the old traditional, ways, and there's a lot of people that they were raised that way. So, it's a learning experience too.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah, it's the heritage we all share.
Exactly.
Both sides, church and stomp grounds. Because I remember going to singing conventions with my folks as a little kid. being forced to sit on the bench when they wanted to jump up and run around with the other kids and things like that. But I have to thank my mother and father for making me do that, because these days when we hear gospel singing here, I'll remember a lot of those songs. And oh my gosh, I haven't heard that since I was a little guy. See, I think the next line goes na 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 na, and those memories come back so nice. Now, is the holiday? Well, it's obviously a special time, but is it something that your folks look forward to all the time?
Yes, they do. Yes,
Do
they
they
do.
talk about it and ask what's going to happen?
What's going to
Yes,
happen? What's
yeah.
on the menu?
Yeah.
And if we're going to change anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Or if we're going to have bingo.
Yes. Bingo.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Here,
we
yeah.
the Muscogee Center has tried to bring back more tradition in it, because they do have a meeting, a singing on the third Thursday of the month, and it used to be a real small group, and it's traditional singing, and they would have fellowship afterwards. But now, the other night that I went to, it was my first night ever going to it, but my daughter goes to with Pearl and them, and they had over 100
117
Oh, my.
that came for
last-
God. They sing. They do all kind of the Creek hymns.
That's all it is. We do about, we start like at 6:30 in the evening time, and we do about an hour, sometimes hour and 15 minutes or so, and it's nothing but Creek singing, and it's just one right after another, and sometimes that spirit gets to moving there, you know, and we have some ladies or the men that's will start another song, and they're just continuous, you know, and then we'll finish up there, and then after that we have a huge meal together, fellowship together, and it's just potluck. Everybody brings whatever, and we have traditional foods there too. We have Chattahoochee, and we have Sokonipke, and sour cornbread, and sometimes we'll have wild onions. I think last month or so that somebody had brought some, and homemade biscuits and grape dumplings,
Here we go
meatloaf, you know, all
My
of this
stomach's
kind
starting
of
to
stuff.
growl all over again, just after I got it under control.
But this the third Thursday of every month. So, but we had a huge crowd. This is the biggest they've ever had. We had 117. I mean, they come from everywhere. They come from Tulsa, Muscogee, you know, and just everywhere, wherever they, you know. And so, but we have a good time, just singing Creek songs.
Do you occasionally slip in a Choctaw or Seminole?
If we get someone that's there, and we have done this, we had some Choctaw people there, and I believe we had Cherokee. I think we did anyway, but we had them to, you know.
Yeah. Because I remember at Tulsa Indian Methodist, they were always mixing it up. you know,
Yes.
a lot of
Right.
Creek. Now, if, say, a stranger walked in who was eligible, age-wise and blood-wise, you know, Indian blood-wise, how would you welcome them?
We just have to we've talked to them and let them know they're more than welcome to eat and fill out we have an intake form that we have to fill out to account for our meals. We had them fill it out, and they just join right in.
Do they get ushered to a special table or anything?
Just sit where you want.
It might be nice and polite to ask if you could sit down there.
Yes, because for some reason they all think their chairs have their names on it.
Oh, no. You don't want to step on anybody's toes there.
Yes, well, I've been sitting here for a long time.
Excuse me, sir. You go right ahead.
Yes.
I'll go sit over there. The reason I ask is I'm also, on the newspaper staff and looking at the possibility of coming in and having lunch with you and exploring that.
You're more
as
than
a
welcome to come to any of our sites.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind as we look at the rest of the story. Now, as we look at your entire program, let's, I guess, have some reminders here, like on eligibility and things like that. And if someone wanted some more information about it.
Just boils down that you have to be 55 years or older, and you have to carry an Indian card.
And if they do have any questions, they're more than welcome to call our office, and our number is 918-549-2999. 2600.
What time is the meal served? Because I'd hate to get there just
We
as every...
serve Monday through Friday. Lunch is from 12 to 1 o'clock, and it's at all of the nutrition sites. And like I
Okay.
said, there is 11 of them throughout the nation. Once a month, we do have breakfast, and on the breakfast days, we serve breakfast from 9:30 to 10:30.
So be there during those times, and if you see everyone walking out with a toothpick, then you're too late. Then, yeah.
And they do have menus. They put out a menu every month,
Really?
and it's free for everyone to take, so you'll know what to expect each day.
For the computer folks out there, is that online? Can they look at that? Or
We don't have it online, but you can call the office and request one, and we can email it to you or scan it to you.
And everybody, all the 11 centers are consistent with the same thing, so nobody's serving anything different. If you went from Muscogee to Wetumpka, you would get the same thing.
That's sort of like McDonald's. Huh? No archers. We have plenty of archers. All right. Well, thanks, folks. We hope that you enjoy your holiday with your own families, and wish you well, and hope our Creator watches over us. And gives me more of these samples. Oh boy, are those good. So thank you so much. We'll be over there to visit you pretty soon. But
Well,
But
thank
for
you.
asking us to come in, and on behalf of the Elder Nutrition, we'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and be safe.
okay, well, thank you very much. All right, well, let me put it back together here. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be bringing in the wonderful folks from the Mvskoke Food Sovereignty Initiative, and thank them for this wonderful sample. And no, Stan, you can't have any. All right, please stay with us.
Nearly 22 million women and girls and nearly 1.6 million men and boys have been raped in their lifetime, probably by someone they know. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, confidential support is only a phone call away. Contact the Muscogee Creek Nation Family Violence Prevention Program at 918-732-7869 and ask to speak to an advocate. Services are free and open to the general public.
Hear that? That's the sound of hope being killed by meth. Methamphetamine use is causing huge problems in our community. Hear that? That's the sound of something you can do about it. Events like rodeo, res ball, and family time can help keep kids away from meth.
Talk to your kids. Keep our culture alive. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Learn more at ncai.org.
Who am I? Am I Indian? Just 'cause I'm a girl from the res, don't make things up about me. What if I move away? Then who am I? Some kids try meth just to escape, but then I think about my grandma, my little brother, my beadwork, my poetry, and I think, I like who I am, and I know meth is not for me.
Check out ncai.org, a message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio on this very tasty program here today. Coming in to join us now are June Marshall and Sue White, the folks from the Muscogee Food Sovereignty Initiative. Come on in, belly up to the microphone. Headphones are optional. Some folks like to hear themselves. Some folks really love to hear themselves. Others don't, so it's up to you. Thank you all, first of all, for coming in. We appreciate you making time. And we get you to work a little closer to those mics for me there. Okay. First of all, one of the, if I could get one of you to kind of give me a capsule description of the Mvskoke Food Sovereignty Initiative program.
Okay, we're a nonprofit organization, and we've been a nonprofit since 2007. Started out with a group of Creek Nation employees from the Creek Nation, and other people too. They worked together, and they were trying to decide what to do with the concern for our food. They discovered that the food that we were eating was coming from Walmarts. There was no fresh food. So they got together and they formed a committee, advisory committee, and it was composed of Creek Nation employees and other interested employees in our food waste. So that's how we started. There were several things that they wanted to do, either make it fall under Creek Nation or the Oklahoma State or nonprofit with national. So they went nonprofit, and we've been in that status since 2007. What we do, we're in economic development. We try to get our people, Native people and others, to grow their own food, basically.
Mm-hmm. Sort of like a return to
what we used to
traditional.
what we used to do. I know the Creek people are farmers.
Mm-hmm.
They've been farmers for a long, long time, and I know my Kiowa people are not so much farmers. They're more like into cattle and horses and things. They were nomadic, and they moved around on their horses, and so they were not farmers. So,
No,
but
buffalo.
Buffalo, yes, but the Creek Nation people are definitely farmers. So, and we respect that. So we are trying to get back to the traditional ways of growing.
Well, that was, I guess, the hallmark of our culture is to establish great cities and temple mounds and great civilizations where the population had to be sustained through agriculture there, and they got pretty good at it from what I understand. Now, the word sovereignty in your name has always intrigued me. I was kind of wanting to see how you would define that as it applies.
Sovereignty is unique because it's I don't want to use a comparison with our Lord and Savior, who is sovereign, but I've noticed that other organizations are starting to use the word sovereignty in their programs, which means that we are unique in what we're doing, and we're one, and we all have one mission, and that's to provide the knowledge, the education, and we help people to learn how to grow food and harvest, and to preserve food as well.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving holiday has always been looked at as focusing on food, turkey and all the trimmings that go along with it. Where does that fit into what you all are doing there? Do you have any programs focusing on turkeys or cooking or preparing and that kind of thing? Is there a special place for turkeys?
Well, only thing I know of is the Hannah farm down there, and we worked quite a bit with them. We had them plant some seeds for us, and whatever we get back from down there, or whatever seeds we give the people to plant, we want them to give back to us. But as far as turkeys,
no, they're just pretty well accepted as part of what today's meal is.
Yeah,
do you remember any, or have any memories of as when you were a young girl, the meals that were prepared then, families getting together? Something come to mind there for you?
Well, back in the day, we had cattle and we had horses and stuff, but we hardly ever had any turkeys because we lived out in the country, and wolves and everything was bad. But my mom did always had chickens, and she always kept them cooped up, and we'd have a big old fat hen for Thanksgiving because we lived so far out in the country. And then my cousin, he'd come along with about 15 squirrels hanging on him. He'd go out early in the morning and he'd hunt. And then my mom she had canned a lot back there. She had a great big garden, and she canned a lot back then. So we had called lamp squirters too. She'd can those.
Yeah.
I guess nobody knows what those are.
No, I have to admit I just drew a blank there. So maybe you could explain a little bit about.
Oh, there's something like greens.
Yeah.
The greens.
Looks like a weed.
Yeah, collard greens.
It actually looks like a weed, and you don't think it's food, but it is. There's a lot of plants out there that are edible. We just don't know about them.
Now, is that some of the things that your program tries to teach?
We do try to teach that. We try to teach get people to grow the traditional foods that Native American people use in their recipes and in their dishes, and we try to do that with wild onions, for example, and we try to go back to those ways. But the wild onions are surviving on their own, and and we take advantage of that because we go out and hunt them, and of course those are secretive places in a lot of cases, so we don't know.
Yeah, I was
where
going to
they
ask
are.
about that.
Yeah.
I've never had a woman ever tell me where she picked onion.
We just buy them. We just buy them from these gatherers that come to the office, and they have them in gallon bags, and we just end up forking over our money, and so we can have wild onions.
Well, that's a lot easier than going out and
Cleaning them,
digging and cleaning and
it's hard work.
get chased by a snake occasionally. Or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
hard work cleaning those and prepping those things. It is hard.
But the result is wonderful.
It's delicious.
I know. As was demonstrated to me here a few minutes ago, I've still got some left. I'm looking forward to. Oh boy, that was good. It will be too.
Yeah.
You'll have to go out to the college. They're having the meal out there from what?
From 11 till 1 o'clock. We cook. This is the 4th year that we have cooked for the Creek Nation College.
Mm-hmm.
They always want a sampling of the food, traditional foods. So we usually take out the hominy and pork, sopanipki, and this time we're using wild onions, and we got cornbread, and we've got pumpkin, fried
Yeah,
pumpkin,
boy.
and we got cranberry relish. So we try to make it as traditional as we can.
Sue, let me ask you. We talked to Pearl Thomas a little bit about some of her memories of growing up as a young girl and how meals were made and put together then. Is there something that comes to mind for you? Do you remember a mother or grandmother preparing a meal like this?
Yeah, my mom would always make the sweet potato pie. We didn't have, like I say, we didn't have pumpkin, but she'd make sweet potato pie, and she'd make the cranberries. We didn't have cranberry, but she'd use another type of berry.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got cranberries, and I usually make the cranberry sauce with apples and oranges and grind it all up and maybe put maybe a cup of sugar in there to kind of let it all work. It's better when it works about 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Now, is this a secret recipe?
Uh-huh.
No, it is not a secret recipe. You heard it first on Mvskoke Radio here. But how did they prepare like a turkey or a big bird, a big chicken, whatever?
In a wood stove.
In the oven?
Yeah, in a wood stove, yeah, an oven. We didn't, like Pearl was saying earlier, that we didn't have refrigerators back then, and they would go to. My mom, my dad would go to town, which lived in Walika. We lived about 7 miles out in the country, but they would go and get ice and wrap that ice up in tow sacks, and would try to keep it cold to get back to the house to put it in our little ice box. And I'd go with my dad. He lived in Okemah, and his sister had those big cisterns out there where they draw water. And the way she kept her stuff cool, she would put all her meat and stuff she'd fry, and she'd put it in a bucket and cover it and lower it down in a well where it'd be cool. And that's how they would keep their food. You didn't know that, did you?
Well, not that particular one. No, I don't recall ever running across that one.
That's survival.
Yeah, I do remember like my mother's family and going after ice. And the big blocks, and they'd carry it in those metal tongs and keep it wrapped up. And hopefully you get home with at least 3/4 of it, and the rest of it following you on a trail home. Now, I heard from a lady once that she said most of the cooking was done outside, on wood fires and the big metal pots and this kind of thing. Is Is that
Yeah,
part of what?
I still got my mom's great big pot that she had.
Oh gosh.
She said it came with her and her family on the Trail of Tears,
Oh boy.
and I still got that big pot. But it's great big where they cook their sofkie and they cook their fried meat
Mm-hmm.
and cooked all kinds of